Hi, this is Dr. Z with your Chapter 4 hybrid tutorial. First, I want to remind you that you can look for the rubric used for the data reports under My Grades, and then scroll down to find the rubric. I'll just pick the one for data report number 2. It is the same for data report number 3. So you would click on that and read what's expected. So let's get right to the next data report. Okay, so in Chapter 4, you'll be completing a data report on arms and military expenditures. I did add a paragraph for you to consider in writing your own paragraph. This should give you some context for the data that you're being asked to gather, and I'll keep doing this from here on out. I did also link to this guns and butter curve that we'll go over in class, and then I provide an image as a reminder. And the guns and butter curve gives you this calculation of how much a state will spend on its economy, social services, etc., versus military over here, with the assumption that each state has a limited or finite amount of budget to use to decide how much military capability it wants to support. So the sources down here are pretty straightforward. The first question is whether your country is a nuclear state or not. If you don't know, these will help answer that question for you. If not, you can check out this website for nuclear-free weapon zones or nuclear weapon-free zones established under UNODA. You can click on this map to get more information, and this will tell you whether your country falls into one of these treaties. They don't all have the name nuclear weapon free, so you do have to be careful. For example, these treaties here. And if you go back to the UNODA website, you can click on these treaties to see if your country is a member. So I just clicked on the treaty, the Bangkok Treaty rather, and you can see here it has nuclear weapon free zone, but sometimes they go by the layman's term for that particular treaty. So check out your country when it joined, and then deposit means when it was ratified, if it has been ratified. So you can see the difference when they all signed. This is when the treaty was officially signed, and then it went into entry after the last country. The Philippines signed in 2001, and the earliest country was quickly after they signed in 1996. So each one of these treaties from this map will give you more information about your country's participation in one of these weapon-free zones. If your country is a nuclear state, this website will tell you a little bit more about its status. So scroll down. This nuclear arsenal has been updated, and the date at the bottom after I scroll down will tell you the last update. So you can see 9 countries possess 15,000, and then down here is the list of what they actually have. So this was from 2017. And then you can read a little bit more down here if your country falls into one of these categories of not just having weapons, but hosting weapons, and then states in nuclear alliances. Finally is the SIPRI database, and this one's a big one. So here you have access to multiple databases, and I'll just pick the first one. I've asked you guys to go into the arms transfers, arms industry, and military expenditures, and then pick one other database that may be particular to your country or that you're interested in. So you could check out peace operations here. You could check out arms embargoes. You could see national reports. The US and about 24 other states regularly provide national reports on how much they export. And then you can add data from the financial value of the global arms trade to estimate how big of a contributor your state is to that. So I'll just click on arms industry to show you how to use this database. All of the data in here is downloadable in Excel. So all you have to do, and I'll just click on top 100, opens in Excel. And then here, column E is country. This is organized by company because most of arms exporters are companies. Even if they're state-owned, they have a company name too. So here's the ranking. So this is the 2015 ranking, retrieved in 2016. So you can see it takes about a year to update data. And then the ranking goes down. So if you are the United States, you have a little bit of math to do. You can't just say that the US sold 36,000 in arms sales. That would only be, actually, that might be millions. Yes, it is millions. So here's the millions of dollars. That would actually only be from Lockheed Martin. So that's 36.4 billion in arms sales just from Lockheed Martin. And then you can go down the way and compare. Don't assume if you download this and your country is not there that it won't be at the bottom. And you can do command find, and that will be how you can locate whether your country is on this and other databases. So I'm not going to save that. And then you can also go to total arms sales. It gives you a little bit more data. So total, current US billion, and that's the current US dollar, and constant US dollar are two different currencies. So if you want to report how much your country sold as a proportion of the total world, you could report in either one of these. And this just gives you context for your country if it falls in this top 100. So that's $371 billion just in last year or 2 years ago. So let me go to one other to show you how this works. So let's go to the military expenditure database. Not all of your countries are going to be in all of these databases either, to be clear. I would recommend downloading this Excel as opposed to the PDF. I find Excel easier to work with these large data sets. You still have the control find function, and you can do sums, averages pretty quickly. Here's the front page or code book. Here are our regional totals, which are somewhat helpful, but here's where you want to go. These 4 sheets in this workbook give you local currency and then 2 different versions of US dollars. I recommend you report in either constant dollars or current dollars. Current dollars are the current dollars spent then. Constant, all the figures from 1988 to 2015 are reported in exactly the same currency, and that allows you to compare across time, controlling for inflation. Share of GDP is critical. So here, you're going to want to scroll over and see the most recent year, but also pay attention to shifts. So for instance, we're hovering over Algeria. Algeria historically has spent more over time on military. So in 2015, they spent 6.2%. And you can actually rank if you want. So you can rank the whole data set or sort the whole data set, or just take a look here and peruse different countries in addition to your own to see what is high. So for instance, the US here spends 3.3%. Kyrgyzstan around the same. And we have some pretty low numbers in Europe comparatively, higher numbers in Eastern Europe, Russia 5.4%, etc. So we'll go to another database and then we'll close for today. So let me go back and I'll select ARMS transfers. ARM transfers is about exporting. So here You can download the top list that will give you the top exporters, or you can generate tables that are based on a particular country. So imports to, you would select exports from your country first. So I'll just pick Chad. Range of years, it's up to you. I suggest that you pick a couple. And then you can actually do on-screen or Excel. I'll show you the on-screen. And this does not have any information. So that means that Chad did not export. So let's click on the imports. And here's their import data. So we know Chad is not an arms exporter, but now we know they're an arms importer. So please note the value. So this is US millions, and the currency is constant in 1990 prices. And here is where they are importing from. So in Chad, who has the biggest influence on their military? China, followed by the Ukraine, followed by Italy, and the US is actually pretty far behind, despite being the #1 exporter to everyone in the world. So those are the SIPRI databases, and again, you would pick a fourth one relevant to your country, and like with the other posts, you would reply to one other person and read and rate 5 others. Thank you.